What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another weekly update for you. Easter weekend, we got a few things going on. We're going to start with a few announcements. So, no classes this coming Sunday, the 17th. All right, classes on Saturday will remain the same, but in observance of the Easter holiday, there aren't going to be any classes on Sunday. All right. Additionally, the level 1 gymnastics course with Coach Eric, that is almost sold out. There's about 3 spots left for that. If you need more information, you can go to the website and you can find the blog post that has all the details you need there. If you want to sign up, just shoot an email to info@arsenalstrength.com and we will reserve your spot. Also, the next Arsenal happy hour is going to be at Dancing Gnome on Friday, July 29th in Sharpsburg. If you guys want to hang out with the crew outside the gym, definitely come on down. I think we'll be there like around 5 o'clock or so. And with this crew, who knows how late they'll be out. And that is about it for general announcements. Vincent, you got anything?
I believe Dancing Gnome closes at 10.
Doesn't mean we won't be going someplace else.
crazy Karens or Kathy's or something's across the street. Being a native Sharpsburger, I probably wouldn't recommend that you make your way over there. But
I was gonna say that like you kind of were proving my point that who knows how long we're gonna be out for if you could tell me exactly what time Dancing Home closes down on a Friday.
But yeah, no, I think you nailed it on the head with those announcements.
Yeah, good. All right, so let's get into the question of the week. So with the quarter ending, right, in-body check-ins are going to be something that a lot of people would like to get. There's been a few people who've already been scheduling this week. If you guys have not scheduled an in-body recently, like within the past month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever, make sure that you guys are coming in for that. I sent a link. It'll always be there in the weekly newsletter. From now on, you can just go there, click on it, find a time that works for you. I also have some signs that I'm going to hang up in the gym that have a QR code that you can just scan, and that'll pull up the schedule as well. So just trying to make it as easy as possible for everybody to schedule those bookings. And the last place it's in the our Instagram bio as well. You'll see it'll just say in-body check-in for current members. So any of those places you can go and you can get your in-body scheduled, right? But one of the things we see from time to time on an in-body is somebody will come in and they might have been here for 3 months, 6 months, even a year plus, and they're working out 4 to 5 days a week, and they feel much better, they're much stronger, they're much fitter, but they're not necessarily seeing all of the results they would like from a body composition aspect. Right. So when we start to see that, Vincent, what's the first thing that we go into discussing?
How shitty is your diet?
He puts it so much more nicely than me. I would be like, well, how is your diet? What are you eating? Are you eating like shit? Are you going to Dancing Gnome until 10 p.m.?
Yeah, right. I mean, I think that's at this point in time, it's funny. I just had a conversation with someone else about this, but at this point in time, most people are pretty well aware that results equal, exercise and nutrition. Now, we like to dive in even deeper, stress management, sleep, things like that as well. But I think at this point in time, people know if I exercise regularly and eat better, I will start to see results. Right?
Yeah. I mean, and I think too, like, we don't expect people to make huge changes to their entire lifestyle all at once. And I think that, seeing the results as far as like performance and sugar WOD and things like that in your first few months, year, what have you, like if you're working out 4 to 5 days a week and that's become like a really consistent habit, like that's amazing. And it would be very hard to stack serious nutrition on top of that. Right. So these things do kind of, they follow one another. In my experience, I would say that getting into that regular fitness routine leads into healthier eating habits. And then it's just obtaining the knowledge and making a few tweaks here and there.
Yeah, exactly. And, when we talk about nutrition, it's one of those things where a lot of people instantly can put up a guard or get defensive, and oh, I'm not counting calories. I don't want to do that. I can't do that. Cool. We never said anything. We just asked you what you ate for dinner last night, right? Like, there's so much more to nutrition than, counting calories work for some people. A plate method might work for other people. Again, just cutting out like 2 meals out a week might work for some people. Cutting out sugary beverages, whatever the case might be. These are all just some steps we can take to get closer to that overall goal. So, when we talk about nutrition, I think a lot of times it can just be simplified into, what are like 3 things that you could do today or in this next week that would help overall your overall nutrition?
Right. What are the things that we can identify that are going to give you like the biggest bang for your buck if you change, right? Like sugary drinks right there. Super easy. Like if you're still having like a Coke or a Pepsi at lunch, like even just something as simple as like just change it to like a Coke Zero or a Diet Coke or something like that. So you're not taking in the sugar. And we can address the other stuff later, like to get on to drink more water and things like that. Right. But like, let's just get the small win of just getting the sugar out of the diet there. Right. Maybe it's just eating something, you know, not less substantial, but for breakfast, a lot of times, like I've had somebody come in and be like, well, like all I eat is like 5 pieces of fruit for breakfast. And I'm like, well, 5 pieces of fruit, that could be like 100 grams of sugar right there. Right. So maybe we just replace that with like some peanut butter, right? Or some nuts, like something that's going to fill you up, is going to have, more calories from fat, right? And less from sugar. Those are easy, simple changes to make.
Yeah, and I think that's a great place to start. If you come in and you don't quite see the scan that you were hoping for, again, most of the time it's going to be, something outside of the gym that is leading towards that progress not being hit. Now, if you're not consistent coming to the gym, very well could be that is the issue. But most of the time it's something outside of the gym. Again, there's, if you come to the gym for a 1 hour a day, you have 23 hours to essentially meet your goals or screw up your goals outside of our power, which is a lot of time. So sometimes just thinking about these things, one example from, school that I remember learning is, a professor talking about, adding a teaspoon of sugar to each cup of coffee that he drank. And like, he had 3 or 4 cups of coffee a day. So those teaspoons all add up. And then he tallied like the calories that he consumed per day, per week, per month, per year. And it's all of a sudden like, holy crap, like 1 teaspoon of sugar is this big essential problem in the diet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So little things like that, like Brooks said, can just seriously make such a big difference in some of those overall eating habits.
Yeah, and really finding like what works for you too as a person. Like, for some people, like they can have them come in, we can identify those 3 habits, and that could be it right there, right? That just sends them on the path that they need. Some other people, like, they do need to count every calorie. Like, they want to be that precise about it. Like, I've counted calories for, months at a time. And like, I hate it. Like, it's not something that I have any desire to do. Like, when I just switched over, I was like, all right, I'm only going to eat when I'm hungry, and I'm not going to eat when I'm not hungry. And I'm going to try and keep that as healthy as possible 90% of the time. Like, that's when my nutrition got really good. And because that's just what works for me. Like, my dad, on the other hand, my dad's has never found anything that worked for him until recently. And like, he's doing intermittent fasting, and he's dropped like 30 pounds, which is incredible. Right. But it's like, that's just something that he found that clicked with him. So it's really about experimenting and figuring out like what clicks for you.
Yeah, and I think on top of that, being flexible as well, right? So when I really need to or really want to dial something in, so essentially like the month leading up to the open and then through the open, I started counting my calories again. Like you, I don't actually like doing it. It's actually monotonous and time consuming, and I cook a lot of meals on myself, and trying to like weigh and measure and do all of that is honestly, it's a pain in the ass.
But it does serve a purpose, because I think that counting calories is one of the best way for someone to get a handle on like what an appropriate serving size should look like, right? Like what does, like if I say, hey, eat 4 ounces of chicken for lunch or dinner, like most people are like, what the hell is 4 ounces of chicken? Is it
Yeah.
cooked? Is it uncooked? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. And if you want to really make yourself depressed, weigh out a serving of peanut butter. And then you can enter a depression state and be like, oh God, I thought I was eating a serving of peanut butter and I was eating 3.
Yeah.
So you want to be depressed, do that, but particularly wait till Monday, probably after the weekend and after the holiday. But again, it shows some of those things, right? Well, I this is what I eat. I eat a piece of, 2 pieces of toast with peanut butter every morning. Again, oh, it's how much peanut butter? Oh, it's a serving, and then we put it on a scale and you're like, oh shit, you just had 2.5 servings of peanut butter. We went from 190 calories that you thought you were eating to whatever, 400 calories that you're actually putting in. So, it's good for things like that. And then, also, again, don't hate me for saying this, but I, through years of wrestling and, up and down, dieting and cutting weight and things like that, I generally am not that hungry of a person. Like, I don't get hungry that often. So counting calories for me generally shows that I'm under eating and that I need to find ways to get more calories into me. Vice versa, that might be the case for somebody. It might be, oh, I thought I was getting enough protein, but I'm at the end of the day and I'm at 52 grams of protein. Again, some of those things it can create, so that you can get away from it, but reshape your eating habits so that when you stop counting, you're actually getting the nutrients you need and you can eat till you're full, just like you were talking about.
Yeah, and I feel like that under-eating thing is a bigger problem than a lot of people realize. I mean, I can't tell you how many people who have come in to talk about nutrition. I mean, and you can, ask Arlene about this too. When they come in there, all right, record what you ate for the day, right? And then you look at it and you're like, this is not a lot of food, right? Especially with coming here and working out, it's like, no wonder, you're not seeing the body composition results you want, because one, we don't have the energy to, really even get through these workouts. But two, like we don't have the energy, like we don't have the caloric intake necessary to build muscle, right? So we might just we might be burning fat, but we also just might be losing muscle. So like our body composition is like doesn't really look like it's changing to us.
Yeah, absolutely. And another kind of real life example of that, I just watched a video yesterday on, Tia Toomey, fittest female on earth, unanimously, hands down. It was talking about a day of her eating, and the video was filmed, I think, right around the open time frame. And someone like her, you look at her and you're like, oh, well, she's a full-time athlete. She works out all day long. She can eat whatever she wants. And yes, she eats a lot of calories, but something she was actually, when the open was starting, she might be out of it now, but she was still in a cut phase. For some of you might not know, she helped qualify Australians bobsledding team for the Winter Olympics. And apparently one of the things she had to do to, unfortunately she didn't compete in the Olympics, but she had to put on weight, which I didn't realize, to, compete in bobsled. And she is still now, and at least as of a couple of weeks ago, was trying to get that weight back off. So these are problems that sometimes we all think we have, but she's probably the fittest person on the planet. And she's going through these same things that we are. So, I think we all can kind of relate to nutrition with this. And there's ups and downs, and there's times where we're going to need to eat more and eat less. And, you just have to figure out what works well for you, your training, your lifestyle, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And like we're here to help too, right? All the coaches, like we all have relatively good nutrition. Like we're all pretty good about eating for the most part. Like Arlene is definitely the best about it, especially when it comes to counting calories. But even if like counting calories isn't something you think that you're interested in, right? Go to her anyway, right? And ask, right? See what she can help you, because she does have a wealth of knowledge that she'll be able to pick something out of your life and say, hey, change this one thing, and you will see some results from it.
Absolutely.
Boom. All right. Well, let's take a look at next week's programming. This is a great week. So many test pieces.
It's going to be very fun. So we're going to kick off the week. Everyone eat lots of Easter candy on Sunday, as we just talked.
Speaking of nutrition, eat all the candy this weekend.
Eat the candy because we are retesting our 10 rep max floor press on Monday. So again, it's going to be fun. We went through this cycle, a little bit of a higher volume cycle, secretly tricking you guys into building those chests up. Murph's not that far away. So, instead of making you do a bunch of push-ups, we did some floor press. So that's going to be a fun retest. Carrying on with the kind of grip strength piece. We're actually going to see that earlier in the week. So, in case some of you guys can't make Fridays, you're going to be able to hit this piece, which is going to, has been pretty enjoyable. Then we get into more deadlift clusters, more split squats, which I know everyone's really loving the split squats. So we wrap up that this week. And then test pieces, we have Fight Gone Bad, which some people like, some people hate. I think it's a fun workout. It's just intervals. So it's, basically designed to simulate a UFC fight. So you're going to go 3 times through, 5 minutes on, 1 minute off, 5 different movements. Hard to count, fun to do in general. We see a variation of Diane with toes to bar instead of handstand push-ups. And then Nancy, which those of you who don't know Nancy, 5 rounds for time, 400-meter run, 15 overhead squats. So overhead squat, not a movement we see super often, but it is a good movement just to kind of challenge the stability, your balance, strength obviously is going to factor in. So we'll really spend some time going over that movement. And then again, I really like Nancy. I think it's a fun, one of my favorite girl workouts for sure.
Yeah. And like even like the overhead squats, coming up, something we don't do all the time. And it's like, for me, like I don't overhead squat and, I don't snatch because it's just too much on my shoulder. But it's like, it's one of those things that when it does come up, especially like in a warm up or something like that, I do because like you said, there's so many benefits to it. I just don't want to do it like in a high intensity setting. So you're someone who's like really struggling with overhead squats and it's a workout that you look at and you dread. Like, don't feel like you have to necessarily overhead squat in the workout itself. Like, come in, go through the mobility, right? Go through the warm up, overhead squat with a PVC pipe and an empty barbell. Start to develop that range of motion, right? And the mobility required to actually perform an overhead squat to a point where it feels good and it's enjoyable for you, right? But then when it comes to the workout and it comes to like, okay, now we're trying to move with intent and we just want to get a good workout in and not necessarily worry about that stability factor or, can I do this properly or not? Just front squat. It'll be a great workout. Like that's what I'm going to do.
And guess what, guys? When it comes down to it, that is a running workout. It is how fast can you run 1.25 miles? It doesn't matter if you're overhead squatting, front squatting, air squatting. The running is what sucks in that workout. Mm-hmm. So again, no matter what kind of squat you do, that workout is going to feel hard because it is a secret running workout, not really about the squats all that much.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
To Brooks's point, don't be intimidated when you see a movement that you can't do, especially in a workout like that. That workout comes down to how hard you want to push those runs. Nothing else really matters with that. So
and even looking into Murph, right? Like if you do choose the front squat, more than likely you're going to be able to front squat a little bit more weight, do it a little bit more efficiently, a little bit quicker, and get right back on the run. That's going to simulate, what the second mile of Murph really feels like a little bit towards the end when your legs are super heavy after all those air squats and you're starting that, that second mile run. So it's good Murph training as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so another fun week ahead, couple test pieces, the end of that floor press cycle will wrap up the split squat cycle as well. So going to be a fun week of training yet again.
It is. We are looking forward to it. Again, guys, no classes on Sunday, but we will be back to the regular Sunday schedule. next week. And that is all we got for you. All right. If we don't see you this evening or tomorrow, happy Easter. Hope you guys have a great weekend.
Yeah. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Vincent.